Hi everybody and big welcome to cEDH TV gameplay. This time me, Mons, joined by as always Rhetoric and Pontus, and today Felix!
Heyo! Great to be here, everyone.
Tithe Extractor is a mono-black creature-oriented combat deck that is playing like stacks creatures preferably, like Oppo Agent, Lodestone Golem, Shouldered Apocalypse, to basically accumulate value by stealing cards and outgrind my opponents. At least that's the plan, so to say. Hopefully it will work out.
So I'm playing Bluefarm because I love Bluefarm. I think the deck is very, very, very good. I think the bans don't matter that much. I think the card quality you get to play in this deck is like super, super high. And I think you get to be super explosive and also be able to grind. So I think you enter every game with like a game plan. It doesn't have to be the same game plan every time. Super versatile, super explosive. Definitely my favorite cEDH deck, even if it's quite basic.
So today I'm bringing Najeela, and this is a bit more of a mid-range build. This is a deck that made it quite far in the backup event, or the second event in Portugal. And instead of just going full turbo, we will go a bit more into the mid-range warriors, a bit more 3-drop warriors, and on top of having the breach plan, we can also beat face.
Today I am playing Tymna and Malcolm. This is Colin Tyndall's deck that placed 7th in the Birdcage tournament that happened recently over the weekend. And yeah, we've got just our Esper package. I've played versions of this deck before. I like the title called Bears repeating, so we've got a bit of hate bears as interaction, and we can grind value, hopefully casting an Adnaz later and some other. Yeah, this is an easy pitch. We have no mana. I mean, we have mana we can get later on, but we don't have a single land, so we can't play this Dark Ritual. All right, so super tempting to keep this hand. I think I will for a few reasons, mostly Rhetoric Study and that Mana Vault. With Command Tower, you know, a land basically that we have, as well as Mana Vault. We can get out Malcolm very quickly.
So our first 7 is almost kind of spicy. If this Mox Diamond could actually like be used, or not even be used, just hit the battlefield, there is an argument for like go turn 1, Ragavan, crack LED, cast Najeela. But I think that's, even if it worked, I think that's still cope. So this hand just doesn't work. So let's go to second 7. So this hand is a bit on the slower side of almost okay. But that's if we can cast the Wild Growth, which we can't, because we don't have red. Red we have, but not green. And without the Wild Growth, this hand just does nothing. So let's go to 6. This hand is really mean. It's like so mean. If it wasn't for the Scrubland being a Scrubland, or like a, I don't know which land it needs to be. A blue land would be perfect. Could just go to Rustic with this hand. And since we're more mid-range, we can't just like the tutor for like a Necro, which would be kind of crazy with this hand. But with both of those said, it's still a turn 2 Najeela with a tutor for like turn 3 Ristic or Mystic with Fierce backup, which I think always has to be okay. So I'm kind of sad about the potential we were missing out on with this hand, but it's still pretty good. So let's just keep it. And we're bottoming the Thassa Circle because we don't have a way to find a Tainted Pact. Go ahead, Felix.
I will, thank you. I'm not a huge fan of this hand. I think we're quite screwed over by our Surveil land. I think the Surveil land is very worth playing, but even if it leads to these like rough scenarios where you draw it, if we would have a second untapped land on turn 2, we could like at the very least be playing like a early Crom, something like that. Now we're looking at, what is this, like a turn 2? I don't think we even get to like turn 2 Tymna. This hand is certainly better. There's not much we can Tainted Pact for off of 1 black and 1 colorless that really gets us anywhere impressive. Go to 6 here. Okay, this hand, we have a gemstone. That's always nice. We also have a Naws. We don't have fast mana. Imperial Seal for Dark Ritual doesn't quite get us to a turn 2 Naws, which would be like definitely the goal if I were to play this kind of hand. So I think if we do draw a second land though, then Imperial Seal, like a third land I guess it would be, then Imperial Seal for that's quite live. I think we find like a turn 3-ish breach off of this. This is like a little, the reason I'm really leaning towards keeping this is because if everything is awful, I can just like gamble for a fish turn 1, which is like also the line I like the most spontaneously. Yeah, we're keeping the 6.
So this hand contains good cards, like the Wandering is great, Braids is decent, but it doesn't have any way to like accelerate the game. Like the first action is going to be on turn 3 and that's going to be Braids. The only card on board stated Braids being weak, we can do better, so let's move again. This is honestly a lot better and quite on point of what I think I'm gonna need. So we're gonna have a turn 1 creature We're gonna have turn 2 black market connections, and from that we should be able to have a turn 3 commander, and then start accumulating value. I could get better hands than this, definitely, but I don't think I'm going to dig deeper. We also have Fatal Puss and Imp's Mischief, key cards to try to control the game and make the game longer, because this is a commander that wins if the game goes long. So I'm gonna keep this. Chromox feels quite necessary for this start. Let's kick off.
I'm going to put a Gemstone Cavernous into play, and I'm going to exile a Praetor's Grasp.
All right, let's get started. Draw a card. Command Tower, and I will tap that for Mana Vault. Meat Cube resolves, and I will pass turn.
Land for turn will be this command tower. I'll tap it to cast a Ignoble Hierarch. I'm also casting a Moxamp, and then I'm passing. It's so dumb.
So talented. My turn. I will draw a card. Okay. Play a little bit aggressive. I will play a Steam Vents. I'll pay 2 life to have this come in untapped. Then I will play a Gamble. Discard a card randomly. Okay. Pray for me. Hey! I discard an Imperial Seal. Then I would like to cast a Remora. If the Remora resolves, I'll pass the turn.
Draw a card. Here is a snow-covered swamp. Here is a Chromox. And you may draw with your Mystic Remora. I'm going to imprint this Fatal Push into it. And for 2 mana, I'm going to cast Nezumi Grave Robber. This is a similar variant to something like a Scavenging Ooze, but eventually it will flip and I can start, similar to Kendriff, reanimate creatures from here and there on different graveyards. I can steal creatures from graveyards pretty coolly, but it's going to function like a control card for the beginning. In any case, I pass turn.
Take my turn. Draw a card. Land for turn is a Polluted Delta. I'll fetch. Fetched up an Underground Sea. Tap Mana Vault for 3 to cast Malcolm. I will cast a Mox Amber, and I cannot pay for Mystic. Use the one floating and Underground Sea to cast a Rhetoric Study. Not paying for fish. All right, it's a Pirate's Life for me. I'll pass turn.
I will untap, and then in my upkeep here, I could use a Line Tutor to tutor something, and then have it, but I don't think that's the right call. We really want to find like a Rhetoric Study or Mystic Remora. There's no way we cast them this turn, because like if we tutor for them, we can't top deck a land that enables us to cast it. And also this way we need to Dark Crit out Najeela. So this is pretty obvious, but I'm just gonna sit back and align tutor for Rhetoric in my next upkeep. Well, probably fish actually, because I have mana and it's late enough that fish will survive the whole game. But yeah, the game plan now is just to cast Najeela and sit back and hopefully not lose to the draw engines that's already in play. I'll draw for turn. Land for turn will be this scrub land. It's dumb. Then I'll tap 3 to cast Najeela, not paying for a stick. And then I pass turn.
In my upkeep, I will pay to keep the Mystic Remora, and I'll draw a card. Not terribly much I can do to develop here, sadly, but I will play a Scalding Tarn. Just have to pass the turn.
I'm gonna draw a card for turn. So I'm gonna cast a Mox Diamond, not paying for fish or Rhetoric Study, both can draw a card. I'm gonna imprint or discard, a Plaza of Heroes. Then land for turn is gonna be a Mana Confluence, and 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. We're casting Rev. Not paying for Rhetoric Study, you may draw a card. I'm going to combat, and I'm sending Nezumi Grave Robber at Felix for 2 damage.
I'll take it as a compliment. The top card is a Vampiric Tutor. Congratulations.
That is actually a pretty good hit. I'm very happy with my life choices right now. I also make a Treasure. Now the cool part here with my commander is that I don't actually need to cast them right now. Rev is a little bit different, still very similar to Ragavan, but still being an upgrade to Ragavan. So with a Treasure and a stored Vamp Tutor, I'm going to pass the turn.
Take my turn. Going to untap, and I'll take a damage from Mana Vault. Land per turn is a Flooded Strand. Fetched up a scrub land. I'm going to pay 4. I'm going to cast this Displace Your Kitten.
I'm going to try to respond to that with a Red Elemental Blast. I will not be paying for Rhetoric. I was hoping to hit the Rhetoric Study with this on your end step, but I think the Kitten is a bigger problem, just because it might make me lose on the spot. You may draw.
The Red Blast resolves, so Kitten is in the grave. So now we'll move to combat. Justice! Felix, I'm coming at you for 2. Alright, I'll make a Treasure. I've been thwarted, as I like to say on the channel. I'll play a Mox Opal.
In my upkeep, I'll tap a white to cast this Enlightened Tutor, not paying for fish or Rhetoric. Enlightened Tutor resolves, and I'll find a Mystic Remora and put it on top, and then go to draw and draw that for turn.
Not you too.
Tap my command tower to cast the Mystic Remora I put on top, not paying any taxes.
So I'm actually in a slightly interesting position here. As you can see from my hand, I've drawn like so much interaction, but I'm quite fond of countering the Mystic here. I do not not think that there is any interaction from like our first C Malcolm Tymna. If there was interaction, I'm pretty sure he would have defended that kitten because that kitten looked very, very powerful, especially with the extra monks coming out. So if I counter this fish, I'll likely draw out any interaction that Pontus has, which should open me up for just going straight for a protected Adnals on my turn. So I think countering this with a Force of Negation, probably even pitching Born Upon a Wind, is definitely the way to go here. All right, Force of Negation, pitching a Born Upon a Wind, targeting. I like to target the Remora. I'd actually like to fetch in response to the Rhetorik trigger, so I could pay that. Put that, I'll search up a Underground Sea untapped, and I'll tap it to pay for the Rhetorik.
In response to your force, I would like to Fierce, targeting the force, not paying any taxes. Oh, well, paying for a stick. So stack resolves, and I have a fish. With fish in play, I'll actually remember to go to combat, because that's what this deck does. I will
But
attack.
Pontus, that's not what you does. Like you don't go to combat. Your deck goes to combat, but not you, right? You have to stick with your personality.
Yeah, but my deck forces me, so I can't stop. I'll swing Najeela at Rhetoric. Trigger Ignoble Hierarch and trigger Najeela. Najeela will get +1/+1, and I'll make a warrior. That will also be going at Rhetoric.
No blocks. I will take 4.
And then I pass turn.
We got a little bit greedy there on our last turn. If we hadn't paid for the Rhetorik, we could potentially have a Flusterstorm there. Now we're in a bit of a pickle, because if I choose to just let my fish die and pass, that will look quite suspicious. But if I don't do that, I won't actually be able to cast a main face Rhetorik. And every single turn I wait, everyone else is feeding more and more cards to the Rhetorik study player. I don't think being the first person to go off here is the right call, though, so I'm probably just going to hang back a little bit and deploy this little monkey instead. Pay for my fish again in my and I will draw a card in my draw step. Arid Mesa as my land for turn. Tap my gemstone, and I will play a Ragavan, not paying for Rhetorik study. And after that, I'd like to pass the turn.
But in your end step, I'm gonna cast your Vamp Tutor by sacrificing this treasure. I'm not paying for any of the fishes and Rhystics.
I will respond months. Sack this treasure, making him black. Sacking Malcolm. Cast Calling the Weak. You guys go for it. And I will cast an Opposition Agent.
You get it, and you get my Vamp Tutor. I lose 2 life.
Alright, I am taking his Demonic Consultation.
And then I'm taking my turn. Combat and Revenge. So I'm swinging Rev at Felix and Izumi at Pontus, because they don't have blockers.
No blocks.
You get another top deck tutor for me, less useful this time.
And I give you a land.
At least I get 2 treasures. I'm going to cast a Black Market Connections, paying for the Rhetorik study, but the fishes can draw their cards. And then I pass the turn to the world.
Take a turn, untap, draw, ball pit. I'll cast a Demonic Tutor, not paying for fishes. DT resolves, and cast Thassa's Oracle.
I cast the Pact. You have a Rhetorik. I'm not paying for the Rhetorik.
I'm going to exile Meanbet, paying 1 life. Cast Force of Will. Force of Will resolves and counters Pact of Negation. Thassa's Oracle ETB, Horde priority. And I will cast that Demonic Consultation. I cannot pay. So I cannot pay. The many spells that have been cast are the copies of Flusterstorm. I will look at the cards from Devotion and 2 here on the bottom. Mox Diamond, pitch this trigger. Go ahead and draw. I will pitch this Hollow Fountain. I'll pass turn.
And upkeep pay for fish. So put a counter on the fish and then draw a card for turn. Funnily enough, I have drawn 0 lands. I'll tap a black to cast a Dark Ritual, not paying any taxes. Dark Results, I'll make 3 black. I'll use 2 black and tap Ignoble Hierarch to cast a Devilish Valet, not paying for a stick. So Devilish Valet is a 1/3 for 3. It's a Devil Warrior. It has Trample and Haste, and whenever another creature I control enters, it doubles Devilish Valet's power until I turn. Then I will exile Elder Spirit Guide for green, use that green to cast a Tinderwall, not paying for a stick. ETB, I will double the power of my Devilish Valet. Then I will crack it for 2 red, using 1 red and the black floating to dash a Ragavan. And I can actually pay for Rhetorik on this one. Ragavan ETB, I'll double the power on Devilish Valet. And with Ragavan in play, I'll move to combat. I will full swing. Valet will actually go towards Felix. And
Let me cut you a sweet deal here.
No.
Let me weasel my way out of this one.
no,
Okay, what if I pass through my turn and I give you a brand new car?
no. Oh,
Oh,
the car?
You already said no.
No! Ragavan will be going at Mons. Actually, Najeela and the warriors will all be going at Mons as well. So I'll make 3 warriors from my warrior token, my Najeela, and my valet. This will double valet's power 3 times. So it go to 8, and then to 16, and then to 32.
That's me not playing around the fact that you had Tinderwall plus Dash Ragavan there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, eat your heart out. This is the sickest fucking hand you'll see in your life. My god. Oof.
No blocks, I take 9 damage.
Post killing Felix, pass my turn.
Go to my turn, and with black market connections, I'm going to do all 3 modes, lose 6 life, and make treasures draw a card and a golem. Land drop is gonna be an Urborg. Pontus, I'm swinging at you with my Nezumi Grave Robber, and Rhetoric, I'm attacking you with my commander. I'm gonna give, you don't have a blockers, Pontus, so Rev is gonna gain Death Touch.
Yeah, I'm gonna block with Us's Oracle.
I have no blocks, so for me you'll exile a silence.
Well, silence is good, I'm not gonna deny that, but from this point I don't have any more actions, so I pass the turn.
In your end step, I will tap Mox Diamond for blue and cast a Mystical Tutor. Not paying for fish. Cyclonic Rift, got that. And I will put that on top of my library. Move to my turn. Draw the card that everyone knew is there. I lose a life from Mana Vault. Land for turn will be Vault of Champions. I think basically just kill or be killed, so pass.
Untap. I'll pay for fish. And then I would like to go to draw. I'll draw a card for turn, and I'll go straight to combat.
Before we move to combat, I'm tapping out for an overloaded Cycrift. You may draw from fish.
I'll draw, and then, in response to Cycrift, I will cast a Swan Song, not paying for a stick.
So with the power of Mono Black, I actually have the thing called counter spells. In the name of Imp's Mischief, I would like to change the target of your Swan Song to Imp's Mischief, similar to how a deflecting sword works, losing 1 life of the Swan Song's CMC 1. Paying actually for Rhetoric Study, but I can't pay for Mystic Remora.
I'll go out of combat because, yeah, land for turn will be a plateau, Ragavan, not paying for a stick. Casting Mox Amber, not paying for a stick. Tap Mox Amber to cast a Mana Vault, not paying for a stick. And then move to cleanup, discarding a Mystical Tutor, a Mox Diamond, and an Ignoble Hierarch.
Untap and draw a card. I'm gonna cast a Chromox, imprinting Force of Despair. You can draw a card with your Rhetoric Study. And I will recast my black market connections, paying for Rhetoric Study with the Chromox, then passing the turn.
We will take a damage, draw a card. Land for turn is in Iganjo, Seat of the Empire. I will tap 5 and, in a strange turn of events, cast Adnaz on my main phase.
I pass.
I sadly don't have any mana or any white mana to cast a silence that I've stolen, so no response.
Right, Adnaz resolves. Watery Grave, Esper Sentinel, Time Twister, Strix Serenade, Nowhere to Run, Arcane Signet, Ward of Monowint, Posture Mech, Sea of Clouds, Imp Seal, March of the Swirling Mist, Orphic Pool, Gilded Drake, Flusterstorm, Godless Shrine, Ball Ritual, is 7, Otawara, Silence, and maybe 1 more? Tundra, Divine Consultation. Oh no, I'm at 1. Grimire. Okay, obviously I have to stop. All right, I've done some long thinking. I don't want to annoy these guys longer, so I'm going to pass turn. I discarded. Go ahead.
Go to my turn. I'll just try to redevelop. 1 colorless floating, tap a red, cast a Devilish Valet, not paying for a stick. Tap for a red and 1 more, use my colorless floating, to cast the Najeela, not paying for a stick. ETB, double power of Valet. And then I'd like to move to combat.
I will pay 1 and exile Tyrant Sword Saber and Sink into Stupor. Or I phase out your creatures or attempt.
They are phased out. Post combat main phase. Command tower to cast a fish, not paying for a stick. And then I'm passing.
Untap and draw a card. I'm gonna use Black Market Connections, pay 6 life to gain all values. I'm gonna play a land, and then I'm gonna cast the commander and paying for Rhetoric Study with the land. And then I'm gonna pass the turn.
In your end step, I will use the Urborg, and I'll cast Orcish Bees. ETB, I'll shoot Vontus and a mass. All right, because I'm at 1, I've got to do this carefully, so I will untap, and then upkeep trigger with Mana Vaults. I'll pay 4 to untap Mana Vault, so I don't lose that precious life that I'm holding on to. And then I'll draw a card. I will tap Mana Vault again, and I will pay 1. I'll cast a Time Twister. Not paying for fish.
I'll draw. No effects.
I'll point 1 at your face, Montes. This is going to go away anyways, so I'm going to pay 1 and go ahead and silence.
I pass on silence. I'm not drawing.
I am going to sacrifice this treasure and cast the silence that I stole previously to silence the entire table. Not paying for anything, you can both draw cards.
I decline to draw.
I will Flusterstorm your Silence. Not paying for fish.
I'm still inclined to draw.
Silence resolves, and then Time Twister resolves. If triggers from Orcish Bowmasters, so 14. Enough to kill monsters creatures. And then with the 9 remaining, we'll point the rest at Montes. Move to combat, and I'll send 20 damage at Mons.
I'm dead. That's the life I have.
It was a good life. Lotus Petal, not paying for fish.
I'll draw.
Put 1 damage at you. I will put Rhetoric Grave into play, but it will come in tapped. It's the final countdown. Go ahead, Montes.
Go to my turn. I have a fish trigger. I would like to pay for fish. Put the counter on it. I missed. There. I would like to draw a card for turn. Land for turn will be a Taiga. I would like to go to combat.
Before you go to combat, I will pay Mox Opal, blue, pitch
Again?
this Fierce, and I'm also going to pitch this Mystic Remora into phase out your creatures once again.
Don't take it again.
March of the Swirling Mist. Yes, I'm okay. Yeah, sorry.
I will draw. Or do you want to ping my Ragavan?
Yes.
Okay, Ragavan is dead. I will then Fierce this Marsh. I will pay for a stick.
I got nothing. I think you win.
I go to Banshees. So 6 damage coming at you.
And you know why I deserve to die too?
Wow.
Because I think with my miss March, I never exiled those cards. I put him in grave. So for cheating, but also for punches, I deserve to die. Well, good game.
Whoa.
So that was a long beatdown game, apparently. My game plan is to have value with my commander, but Remora and Rhystic Study are pretty good value engines. I didn't get to do much this game.
I think the interesting thing is I had a Force of Will, and I could have chosen to Force of Will the Valley that straight up killed me, and it looked like a pretty attractive play in hindsight, because I have 10 billion pieces of mana. I can Naws in my upkeep in response to my Remora trigger. Even if that gets countered, I don't do to my upkeep. I can go Bergie, backside, flip it to a billion cards. I do still really stand by not forcing that though, because it was exact lethal based off you having Tinderwall into another creature, and I think I'm overall I'll be losing more games playing around something like that. Sometimes you just gotta take the L. Sometimes you just get hit by 32 by Valet, and that's just life.
But it's also Valet is so hard to predict when you've never seen it in play, because it just explodes. When I cast Ragavan, it was a 2/2 or a 4/4, a 2/2 I think.
Yeah.
So you don't see the extra ×6 that's coming when you attack with Najeela, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, I just got completely blown out.
It was a blast seeing combat. Being a casual player, sort of at heart, I think you appreciate this moment. So I'm happy to die to combat every once in a while.
With that, we hope you enjoyed our beatdown combat games. We'll see you guys next week. Bye!